Hello, welcome to Nightline. I'm Brandon Wong. The top stories. State government to receive 50% tourism tax, says Prime Minister. And 9 road and transport department officers to face 162 charges in connection with lorry protection racket on Tuesday. Good morning. We'll start with our top story. The National Finance Council, or NFC, has decided that state governments will receive 50% of tourism tax collected from the states. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, who also chairs the council, said the allocation will be able to help each state to maintain, promote and market their respective tourist destinations.
Majlis Kewangan Negara juga bersetuju pemberian cukai pelancongan menjadi satu pemberian baru kepada kerajaan negeri mulai tahun 2019 yang berdasarkan agihan 50% hasil kutipan cukai pelancongan di negeri. Pemberian ini adalah bagi membantu kerajaan negeri menyenggara dan menyediakan kemudahan pelancongan, mempromosi dan memasarkan destinasi pelancongan dan menambah baik pelaporan statistik pelancongan.
He also announced that the NFC has agreed to increase another 60 million ringgit to each state to protect its environment, mainly forest reserves and marine life, starting this year. The allocation will also be able to assist low-income states implement projects in order to increase state revenue. Tun Dr. Mahathir also announced that the council has also increased the maintenance budget for the Malaysian Roads Records Information System, or MARIS, for roads, bridges and drains that have not achieved the Road Transport Department's minimum requirement and is not registered under MARIS. The allocation cannot be more than 15% of the actual maintenance costs in the previous year, or more than 15 million ringgit, whichever is lower. The federal government has also agreed to write off the loans given to the state governments for the rural water supply project from 2001 onwards. Tun Dr. Mahathir said the loan was based on the balance that had not been settled on December 31st, 2018, with the total amount of 3.8 billion ringgit, which was subject to the state governments to finalize the restructuring of water supply by December 31st, 2019 at the latest.
Pelaksanaan hapus kira ini diharapkan dapat mempercepatkan penstrukturan semula industri perkhidmatan bekalan air, mengurangkan beban kewangan tahunan negeri serta memastikan faedah berterusan dapat dinikmati oleh rakyat pada jangka masa panjang.
He was speaking at a media conference after chairing the National Financial Council meeting in Putrajaya on Monday. For the future, he said, the rural water supply project would no longer be financed in the form of soft loans from the federal government, but allocated in the form of a grant under regulations of the Rural Development Ministry. At the same media conference, Tun Dr. Mahathir also revealed that the government has not yet decided on the method for reducing toll. He said there were several suggestions from the private sector to take over the highway concessions, but the possible toll rate cut would not be up to 25%.
Kita sekarang ini menghadapi masalah walaupun kita buat perjanjian untuk menghapuskan tol. Tetapi apabila tol dihapus, tanggungan kerajaan akan meningkat lebih amat tinggi sekali. Umpamanya kalau nak hapus tol plus, kerajaan kena beli highway itu dengan harga 30 bilion ringgit. 30 bilion ringgit itu lebih baik kalau kita belanja bayar hutang. Boleh kita kurang sikit beban kita.
While agreeing with former chairman of the Council of Eminent Persons, Tun Daim Zainuddin's view that the people's support for the Pakatan Harapan government would increase if toll rates are reduced, Tun Dr. Mahathir said while the people will be relieved for not having to pay toll, the government will not feel the same because the toll would have to be paid by the government. The first batch of Pulau Pinang Road and Transport Department enforcement officers detained in connection with the lorry driver protection racket will be charged on Tuesday at the Butterworth Special Corruption Court for 162 counts of bribery. Under Section 16A of the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission Act 2009, the 9 face a jail term not exceeding 20 years and a fine of at least 5 times the bribe amount or 10,000 ringgit, whichever is higher, upon conviction. The officers were alleged to have accepted bribes from a lorry company to overlook offences committed by its drivers under the Road Transport Act 1986 and Land Public Transport Act 2010. This was confirmed by State MACC Assistant Superintendent Officer Mazlan Hajamaidin. Mazlan said the 9 were categorized as the worst offenders in the racket. He added that one of them had more than 50 offences under his name. He said the MACC had initially planned to charge 30 officers but decided to go with 9 first due to time constraints. Mazlan revealed that the MACC will charge the rest of the enforcement officers involved in the lorry driver protection racket in batches over the next month. Some 75 enforcement officers ranked between grade 19 and 32 were believed to have received monthly payments of between 10,000 ringgit and 32,000 ringgit as inducement for not taking action against errant lorry drivers and for leaking information about RTD operations. The lorries were supplied with special stickers prepared by Tonto, allowing them to be exempted from enforcement actions. Meanwhile, the Kedah Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission is still investigating the alleged misappropriation of funds from an association involving an individual with the title Datuk Sri. State MACC Director Datuk Shahrum Nizam Abdul Manap said that Datuk Sri, who was holding a key role in the association, was suspected of involvement in the misappropriation of funds worth millions of ringgit. Datuk Shahrum said the state MACC has received information on the misappropriation and is still in the process of investigation. He said the graft busters have also called up the staff from the association for questioning and will call the Datuk Sri if necessary to assist in the investigation. Datuk Shahrum Nizam said the MACC was also investigating a case involving the top management of a government-linked company in connection with making false claims believed to be worth millions of ringgit. He said for this year, the MACC had opened 50 investigation papers for various offences in the state and arrested a total of 79 individuals comprising 29 civil servants and 50 civilians. A total of 12 cases were brought to court this year. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad has submitted an official letter to the Saudi Arabian government requesting an increase in the Hajj quota for Malaysian pilgrims in the coming Hajj season. According to Tabung Haji Chief Executive Officer Datuk Sri Zukri Samad, the Malaysian government is seeking an increase of 10,000 Hajj pilgrims for this year, up from the current quota of 30,200. He said TH will, however, settle for an addition of 8,000 pilgrims if the application was not granted. The Saudi Arabian government has not provided any replies yet. Datuk Sri Zukri said TH hopes that the decision could be made soon to avoid difficulties in arranging flights and accommodations for Hajj pilgrims this year. On May the 4th, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Datuk Sri Mujahid Yusuf Rawah, said that the Saudi Arabian government had not indicated that it will respond to the request for the Hajj quota increase for Malaysian pilgrims. Terengganu Sultana Nur Zahira on Monday applied to the Kuala Lumpur High Court for her 300 million ringgit defamation suit against Sarawak Report editor Claire Rucastle-Brown and 2 others to be decided via summary judgment. She filed the application via lawyer Datuk Razik Pillay Abdullah on May the 13th.
The facts are in the affidavit. Basically, what we are saying is that based on the law of defamation, the judge has got the discretion to decide as to whether the statement made by the first defendant, which was published by the second and third defendants, were indeed defamatory. Now, if that happens, what would mean is that Her Royal Highness would not be required to give evidence.
If the court allows the application, the plaintiff or the Sultana would not have to give evidence in the trial and the burden of proof lies on the defendants. The court fixed June 17th for case management. In the defamation suit filed on November the 21st last year, Sultana Nur Zahira claimed that Brown's statement in her Sarawak Report book in August 2018 could be taken to mean that she was involved in corrupt practices. She claimed the book had also portrayed her as having used her status to influence the establishment of Terengganu Investment Authority and help Joe Low or Lau Tek Joe to become the advisor of the Sovereign Wealth Fund. The Employees Provident Fund, EPF, has bought Sports Direct International PLC's UK headquarters for £120 million. Founder of Sports Direct, Mike Ashley, said the company was in advanced negotiations to sell the freehold rights to its property in the town of Shirebrook in central England. It includes a warehouse complex and distribution centre to KWAA Logic Sportivo Limited. Based on the Times report, EPF owns KWAA Logic Sportivo. The UK sports retailer also said that once the deal was completed, it would lease the property in Shirebrook for a period of 15 years, besides operating it as a distribution centre, office and retail business. Google said it was their way or the Huawei. Yes, the jitters has got to many of these Huawei users following Google's blacklist on the Chinese phone maker over the weekend. But it seems Huawei's existing users, especially Malaysians, have no reason to panic at all. This as the giant brand has been granted with a temporary 90-day reprieve and its users still can use their phones as usual. We know that the Google ban means Huawei smartphones won't have access to Google Play services or its proprietary apps like Gmail and Google Maps. But if you're a current Huawei user, rest assured as there are no immediate effects and that everything should be fine. This as the giant tech company at first has come out to reassure its users by reaffirming its plan to continue to provide security updates and after-sales services. To make it better, Android also assured that services like Google Play and security from Google Play Protect will keep functioning on existing Huawei devices. Speaking to the Chinese media this week, Huawei founder Ren Shengfei himself stated the company was prepared to take on the United States. He added that the world's second-largest smartphone producer has prepared its self-development Hongmeng Operation System OS or Plan B, as it always knew it would have to take on the US at some point. So for existing Huawei users, there's no need to panic as the product that have been sold and currently on sale will not be affected. Users will be able to continue using Google services as they normally would. Now, you may be wondering, what about the future without Android? First of all, nothing is impacted for current users. And secondly, users can still install some applications to ensure the use of Android services through the open source version of Android AOSP. Alternatively, Android Package Kit APK files, which are much like an exe file in Windows used to install software, can be used to download different types of Android apps. If it all seems complicated, users can access Google services via the web browser. In other words, like www.youtube.com or www.gmail.com. For those who are planning to buy a new Huawei phone, no need to worry, as only little effect is anticipated on the manufacturing of future Huawei smartphones. This as Huawei has a permanent license for the ARM V8 architecture, which means it has the ability to independently develop new chipsets based on the current ARM architecture. With the entire smartphone landscape potentially altered with the change of this magnitude, a new computer platform option by Huawei could end the dominance of iOS and Android in the mobile sphere. The Hongmeng OS by Huawei may be the answer after all. Malaysia's last surviving male Sumatran rhino, Tam, died this afternoon following health complications which worsened in the last few days. He died at the Borneo Rhino Sanctuary at the Tabin Wildlife Reserve in Lahadatu. Sabah Tourism, Culture and Environment Minister Datuk Christina Liu said in a statement that everything that could have been done was done, including the most intense palliative care possible. The exact cause of the death would be known after the autopsy. Tam, believed to be in his 30s, had been suffering from kidney and liver damage for quite some time, so his death did not come as a surprise for veterinarians and keepers at the Sabah Wildlife Department and Borneo Rhino Alliance. Tam had been living in captivity with the hopes of breeding, but efforts have not produced results for years. The surviving female, Iman, suffers from a ruptured tumor in her uterus and cannot produce fertile eggs. Since her rescue in 2014, no other Sumatran rhinoceros have been detected in Sabah, indicating that the species may have become extinct. When we return, Clark loses more than 500,000 ringgit in Macau scam syndicate. Details next. Welcome back. A Nigerian man was charged at the Sepang Magistrates Court on Monday with the murder of nurse Siti Karina Muhammad Kamarudin. Oluwonle Oluwajuwon, 36, indicated that he understood the charge by nodding his head after it was read to him in English before Magistrate A. Akirudin Acho. The accused was charged with murdering Siti Karina, 40, at a condominium unit at 3rd Avenue Condominium in Cyberjaya, Selangor at between 12:41 a.m. on May the 9th and 2:30 p.m. on May the 15th. He was charged under Section 302 of the Penal Code, which carries the mandatory death penalty upon conviction. Deputy Public Prosecutor Nasharina Nazlan prosecuted while the accused was unrepresented. The court fixed July 31st for remention of the case. Siti Karina, who was chief nurse at Serdang Hospital, was reported missing since May the 8th. She was found dead at a condominium unit in Cyberjaya at 2:30 p.m. on May the 15th with slash wounds on her chest, neck and head. Meanwhile, two other suspects, a 35-year-old Nigerian woman and 38-year-old Pakistani man, have been released on police bond. The court, however, ordered both suspects to surrender their passports until the conclusion of the case. In Sabah, police have successfully busted a gang of tech-savvy car thieves believed to be involved in several thefts for the past few weeks. The arrest came after a woman reported her missing car on May the 16th, and the first suspect was nabbed in the city on May the 19th as he was entering a vehicle similar to the woman's missing car. According to Sabah Police Chief Datu Omar Mama, 4 of the 5 members of the arrested between May 19 and 24th. The suspects allegedly used a computerized system to hack into the vehicle's lock system and disabled its lock and alarm to steal the car. Police interrogation led to the arrest of 3 other suspects and the recovery of 5 stolen vehicles from Sarawak. A 5th suspect, known as Tommy, a 43-year-old Sarawakian, remains at large. A female clerk in Kelantan became the latest victim of the Macau scam syndicate when she lost more than 500,000 ringgit in a span of 1 month. The woman in her 40s from Taman Merah lodged a police report on Saturday after she realized she was cheated by the syndicate. Kelantan Commercial Crime Investigation Department Deputy Chief Superintendent Ahmad Azizul Muhammad said the victim received a call from a woman early last month and was informed that a letter was issued to her by the Inland Revenue Board, which stated that she failed to pay taxes amounting to 24,000 ringgit.
Dia telah dihubungi pula oleh satu lagi pegawai yang lebih kanan berpangkat ASP daripada Sabah menyatakan untuk memudahkan siasatan dijalankan meminta mangsa ini membuat pindahan wang ke beberapa akaun. Jadi daripada pertengahan bulan 4 sehinggalah terakhir pada 21 Mei 2019 mangsa telah membuat sebanyak 12 transaksi pindahan wang berjumlah 534,000. Jadi pihak polis ingin meminta orang ramai untuk berhati-hati apabila menerima panggilan.
Azizul said 37 Macau scam cases were reported by the Kelantan police so far, with losses amounting to 2.2 million ringgit. Last year, 121 cases were reported with losses amounting to 10.2 million ringgit. The public are reminded to avoid revealing their personal information, such as bank account and credit card details, to others. In Johor, two women believed to be Chinese nationals were nabbed by members of the public, allegedly for scamming senior citizens at a market in Taman Megaria, Johor Bahru last week. In a 3-minute video taken on Saturday, the two female suspects can be seen in a disheveled state, sitting on the ground with their hands tied up and some fruit all around them. The case is being investigated under Section 420 of the Penal Code for cheating. Meanwhile, in Kedah, a husband and wife have been remanded for 7 days to assist investigations into the death of a 2-year-old boy believed to be a victim of abuse who died on Saturday. Yan District Police Chief DSP Shahnaz Akhtar said in a statement on Monday the 28-year-old man and his 22-year-old wife tested positive for drugs. It was earlier reported that the victim, Muhammad Akil Hairi Muhammad Azrul, died from internal injuries sustained as a result of being violently hit with blunt objects. The case is being investigated under Section 302 of the Penal Code for murder. In Selangor, a scrap metal collector found a body of a man in some bushes in front of a bus stop in Gombak on Monday. A team of forensic investigators and tracker dogs from the police K9 unit were then deployed to the scene. Initial investigation showed injury marks on the victim, believed to have died less than 12 hours before the body was found. District Police Chief ACP Samsul Maruf confirmed the case, adding that police are waiting for the post-mortem report, and the case is probed under the Penal Code for murder. Over in Perak, 283 mud rumpet were detained for illegal racing on the yet-to-be-opened West Coast Expressway WCE Banting Taiping near the Air Tower exit. Manjung OCPD ACP Muhammad Hanif Othman said the mud rumpet were detained in Ops Khas Samsing Jalanan Ramadan operation on Sunday. Police also seized 11 motorcycles for not obeying traffic rules, and the detained riders had to push their machines for 5 kilometers to the police station. A total of 374 summonses for various traffic offences were issued for various offences including illegal modification and underage riding. After the breather, 15 killed in Brazil. On to the foreign front. In the UK, a no-deal Brexit could be back on the table as Brexit party leader Nigel Farage has demanded a seat on Britain's Brussels negotiating team after his new party pulled off a major victory in the European elections on Sunday night. The new group won the British part of the elections by far, with at least 28 seats, surpassing the former success of UKIP, which had won the 2014 elections under his leadership. The Brexit Party took 32% of the national vote and topped the poll in 11 of 12 regions declared. The Liberal Democrats staged a stunning comeback with a comfortable second on 20.3%, ahead of the Labour Party in third, while Theresa May's Conservative Party was reduced to a single-figure vote share and posted its worst national result in its history, slipping to fifth behind the Green Party. We've reached the end of Nightline this time around, but tonight we'll leave you with visuals of surfers across the world gathering at France's southwestern coast for the 2019 World Longboard Surfing Championship. With that, I'm Brandon Wong. Thank you for tuning in and selamat bersahur.